Are you ready for IT? Do you want to jump into the Linux world? Then a Linux certification might be for you. If you've never worked in IT, or maybe you're stuck on the service desk, let's take a look at the Linux certifications today and what you can get in 2020. A Linux cert will help separate you from the rest of the field. So let's take a look at Linux certifications you can get in 2020. So who am I? Well, my name is Jimmy. I have over 12 years of IT experience. I've worked for the U.S. government as a contractor, all the way to publicly traded companies. I earned my Linux Plus certification in 2004. You can see my Linux verification info right here. I have a degree in Unix administration I earned in 2005. So I've been around Linux for many years, love Linux, used many different Linux distributions. And we're going to ask the question today, why do you want to get certified in Linux in 2020? So why get certified? An experienced Linux administrator can make anywhere between $76,000 and $80,000 a year. Another thing to realize is that Linux web servers run about 96.3% of the top 1 million web servers on the internet. That's out of the whole internet. The top 1 million of those servers, 96.3% are running Linux. Instead of working on end users primarily in a Mac environment or a Windows environment, you can work on servers, cloud servers, web servers, just about any kind of servers. Most of them run Linux. So what are you going to do? You're going to make yourself more valuable. You're going to stand out from the crowd. You're going to get respect from other people in IT. Certs are one of the best ways to learn a particular skill, to be able to apply it, to be able to show it, and advancing your career. You'll be able to take your knowledge in a step-by-step, systematic way and prove to yourself and to others that you know your stuff. Expect to spend anywhere between 3 to 6 months working on a particular certification. It may even take you a year to prepare for these certs, especially if you have zero experience. So one of the first things we want to look at is vendor certifications and vendor neutral certifications. Do you want to specialize in one particular flavor of Linux? Do you want to be the master of that particular Linux distribution? Understand that Linux has many different flavors, or something called distributions, distros. There's literally hundreds of these different distributions out there. You'll have Ubuntu, Red Hat, Debian, Arch, just to name a few. Do you want to stick to one or learn a little bit about all of them? My suggestion is, if you already work for a company and they already use a particular distro and you want to learn that or learn more about it, go ahead and start looking into that. Maybe you already have a vendor neutral certification, you want to step it up. Then you want to look at probably one of the vendor certifications. However, if you're just starting out and you've just learning Linux for the very first time, I would strongly suggest that you stick with vendor neutral certifications. It lets you get a flavor of all of what Linux has to offer. So what are some of the major vendor certifications out there that you can get? One of them is the Red Hat Certified System Administrator, one that I'm very much interested in. Red Hat has been around since 1993, and they kind of converted over into Red Hat Enterprise Linux in about the year 2000. And they're #1 server company when it comes to Linux. It's the main distribution that's going to be running on servers out there in Linux environments. It is a very hard test. It's going to cost you about $400 to take. It's going to take you about 2.5 hours, and you're going to have to take it in person. The next certification that you can get is going to be the SOOS Certified Administrator. SOOS has been around since about 1994, and you may have heard OpenSUSE, one of the most popular distros using SOOS today. Very popular, and it's going to cost you about $149 to take this test. You have about 90 minutes for the test, and you can take it remote proctored. Remote proctor means that you have a webcam looking at you while you take the test to make sure you're not cheating and doing anything incorrectly there, but you can take it from the comfort of your home, no matter what country you live in. If you have a testing center hundreds of miles away, it makes it a lot better option to be able to take something online. And the last vendor certification that you can get is Oracle. Oracle offers Oracle Linux OCA and OCP. Oracle has been around since about 1977, and they're known for their versions of SQL, Java. You may have heard of OpenOffice. They own OpenOffice. If you take this certification, it's going to be $245. You're going to have about 150 minutes to take this test, and you have to take it in person. Unless your company specifically uses these versions of Oracle, you may want to stay clear of this one. So next, you're going to have vendor-neutral certifications. There's several different companies that you can use to get a vendor-neutral Linux certification. And this is where, if you don't know exactly which distribution, or you just want to kind of major on all of them, this is one that I would suggest to go ahead and pick and be able to learn all the different flavors and all the things that they share, and maybe a little bit where one sticks out over another. So the first vendor-neutral certification on this list, and it's really here just because it's the most popular one out there, and you may have heard it. It's going to be the Linux Plus certification by CompTIA. CompTIA has been around since 1982, and they're really known for what they called a trinity, the three. And if you're going into IT, you'll probably hear about these combinations of IT certifications. You have your A+, your Network Plus, and Security Plus. I have the first two, not the last one. I have the A+ and the Network Plus back in early 2000s. The A+ is going to be by far their most popular certification. Probably, if you're getting in IT, so a lot of people you're going to hear about A+, A+ this, A+ that. A+ is primarily hardware. It has some software part of the test also, but it's been a popular entry-level IT certification for a long time. So the Linux Plus is probably the most popular certification out there. It's morphed over the years. I took mine over 15 years ago, and it had merged with another one where you could actually get two certifications at once. They had two tests that you had to take at another time, and now they're back down to just one test you could take. And if you're going to take that test, it's going to cost you $319. 90 minutes is as long as you'll have on the test, and you're going to have to take it in person, typically at a Pearson VUE testing center. The next one I want to mention is the Linux Foundation Certified System Administrator. The Linux Foundation was organized in the year 2000, and it's a non-profit organization. And for the Linux Foundation, their main claim to fame is that it is the foundation started by Linus Torvalds. Linus Torvalds is the one that gave the name to Linux. Linus, Linux, that's where the name came from. And he is involved in the Linux kernel project. If you don't know about the Linux kernel project, they are writing literally millions of lines of codes a year adding to the Linux kernel. Compare that to Microsoft NT kernel, that is slowly kind of getting out of date over the years, to be honest with you. But with the Linux kernel, it is at a full speed, fast pace, constantly updating, constantly moving with the times. And Linus Torvalds is on the forefront and approves all changes with the Linux kernel. So if you're going to take the Linux Foundation System Administrator Certification Test, it's going to cost about $300. You're going to have 2 hours to complete the test, and it's going to be an online proctored test. Again, you can take this from the comfort of your own home. Just make sure you have a webcam. And the third certification on this list is going to be the Linux Professional Institute's Linux Administrator Certification. The Linux Professional Institute was founded in 1999, and it is a non-profit organization for the advancement of Linux. If you take this test, you'll have 90 minutes to complete the test, but you're going to have to take 2 separate exams. Each of these exams is going to cost $200 a piece. Getting this certification is going to cost you $400, and you're going to have to take this in person at a testing center. The last certification on this list is going to be the GIAC Certified Unix System Administrator. This one is technically not going to be Linux, it's going to be Unix. They're very similar. Unix is basically the grandfather of Linux today. From the Global Information Assurance Certification, it started in 1999, formed out of the SANS Institute. The SANS Institute and the GIAC is known for its security ops, pen testing type exams. This is going to be a great exam if you want to get into security and you have the money. The certification test is going to be $1,999, but it does come with 2 practice exams you can take before the actual test. The test is going to take 2 hours, but you have to take it in person at a testing center. So if I had to start over my career today, what would I choose? Well, back in 2004 when I took my exam, it was a lifetime certification, meaning that I'll have this certification for the rest of my life. I do not have to renew it. There's no additional tests, no additional fees, no nothing. and I always will be Linux Plus certified. So in 2004, that would have been the best option for you out there, is to take a test that did not expire. However, there's practically no certification test that you can do that for anymore. These companies, they need to renew you. So in 2020, what would I pick? I would pick the Linux Foundation Certified System Administrator certification test if I had to start over. And you too, I would suggest that you look at the Linux Foundation test also. If you look down in my description, you can get a link to the training section of the Linux Foundation. And from there, if you're brand new to Linux, you can go ahead and take a free course to learn the basics of Linux. If you're ready to move on beyond there, you can have advanced training, and you can have the certification test bought right on their website. Become a Linux Foundation Certified System Administrator. So are you ready for a change in your life's course? Then get started today. Learn that Linux. Go now. Sign up. Take your free course. Take your certification. Take it now. Hey nerds, you can check out my website or click on this video to learn more about Linux. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And don't stop being nerdy. Thank you.